Voyager because Voyager makes this show happen. We certainly appreciate all their support. If you guys want to get a little benefit from that, if you open a Voyager account where you can trade crypto for free, you can do that and type in Rebel25 and they'll give you $25 in Bitcoin as that account opens. So check it out. That's Voyager, one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing crypto broker on the planet. And we're proud to say a sponsor of this show. So guys, pretty interesting 48 hours, I'd say, huh?
Yeah, John, a lot happening in the crypto markets. And, you know, you were correct to be excited about ETH yesterday. You were talking about, you know, how that was kind of going to be your asset that you're focusing on going forward. And I think that's paid off because today, you know, broke $2,700. It's really been
all-time high.
Yeah. And it's been bolstering the whole DeFi market in general. So there's a lot to talk about in that regard. So, you know, I'm excited about that today. And also just a reminder, we'll have our member webinar today at 12:30 Eastern time. So if you have any questions that, you know, we don't get to today in the Daily Crypto Byte, feel free to drop by and join CJ and I for that daily webinar. Without further ado, let's get to the big boards because, yeah, it's an exciting week. CJ, I'd love to get your thoughts on Bitcoin because, you know, you mentioned yesterday the possibility of, you know, maybe a few days of sideways price action. What are your thoughts after today's daily candle?
Yeah, that sideways price action is what we've seen following those bullish engulfing patterns at the bottom of downtrends in the past 2 or 3 times we've seen them throughout Bitcoin. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we were a little range bound for the rest of the week. It seems like a lot of the capital, as you mentioned, Monty, is going into Ethereum and the DeFi marketplace collectively. We're still struggling at that 55K resistance level. I think if we can get past that level, it's going to be very important for the overall macro trend, but we're still struggling there a little bit. One thing that I think is a very interesting speculation or rumor that's been going around, and I think there's a low probability of this occurring, but Facebook has earnings after the close today. And let's see, they have about $62 billion cash equivalent on their balance sheet. And so if they were going to disclose a Bitcoin purchase with their involvement in Libra and DM and the cryptocurrency space collectively, they would likely do it today after the close. I think there's probably a low chance of that happening. It's an interesting speculation nonetheless that I thought I'd put on the radar.
Yeah, well, that it is one of the hot rumors in crypto, folks, what CJ just described there. We know that Elon Musk has the most in recent memory anyway. Of course, MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor made a big commitment to Bitcoin and now it dwarfs their company. Most people can't tell you what MicroStrategy does except own Bitcoin. But Elon Musk bought $1.5 billion through the treasury. It only represented a small percentage of their cash on hand, but he got tar and feathered by our friend Dave Portnoy because Portnoy was going after Elon saying, oh, I get it. I'm paraphrasing. You buy Bitcoin, you pump it, then you dump it, and now you're out. And Musk said, no, you're not getting this right at all. I never sold a single Bitcoin that I own. He said, we bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin as a firm to show that, you know, for our free cash, this might be a better use of it. They sold 10% of that and made more money than they've made selling cars for 14 years. Think about that, folks. We all know that people that are betting on Tesla aren't betting on it because it makes a ton of money. It breaks even at times because of the credits that they sell and the credits that they get. They've made money, but it's not a substantial amount yet. It will be, but it's not a substantial amount yet. People are betting on it on the come, much like they bet on Amazon, and they were right in both cases. But the fact that they liquidated 10% 10% of their Bitcoin holdings. So in other words, $150 million worth, let's say, since they bought $1.5 billion, that's pretty easy math. They made a ton of money on that. And they did it not to make that ton of money and get it into fiat, but rather because they wanted to prove to the board and to the shareholders the liquidity that there is in Bitcoin. Because if you need to sell $150 million worth of something, credit default swaps, Bitcoin, whatever, some people are going to push back and say, is this really liquid enough? What if we need the cash? Obviously, it is liquid enough. Was that part of what broke down the Bitcoin trade a week ago when we traded down to 47.5 and now we've bounced back into the mid 50s, 54,000 something is where we are today? It could be, but I thought that was pretty big news that Portnoy actually went after Elon. Portnoy says he owns, by the way, one Bitcoin, one. So I think the three of us guys own collectively a hell of a lot more Bitcoin than Portnoy, but he said he's just going to hodl that one. But he said, who's going to be left hodling the bag is what he said. And again, I love you, Dave, but I think you're missing the point. And I wouldn't go after Elon on this one. It just seemed like a prudent test case for that, use of their treasury capital.
Yeah, we'll see how long Paper Hands Portnoy can hold on to that Bitcoin.
Paper hands.
But yeah, John, I think that, it's funny to see how different communities have reacted to the news that Tesla sold Bitcoin. We have people like Dave Portnoy seeing it as almost bearish news and that Tesla lacks conviction in their belief of Bitcoin's use as a store of value. But really, the way I see it, I completely agree with you. I think Tesla proved to their board of directors and also to other companies throughout the world that putting Bitcoin on your balance sheet, is a very safe play. It's a great store of value. Bitcoin is a very volatile asset, but it just makes more sense to park your money in Bitcoin than it does to park your money in cash. You can make, like you said, more money than they've made selling cars in the last 15 years. So I do think that, Tesla was just kind of the first mover here. And, if CJ's rumor comes true and we see Apple put some Bitcoin on the balance sheet, I think, we're going to see companies all around the world taking that next step. But moving on from Bitcoin, I want to talk about Ethereum because, like you pointed out yesterday, John, this thing has just been on an absolute tear and, continuing to make all-time highs, even with Bitcoin, showing not too much strength. So I'm excited to get you guys' thoughts on this. One thing I wanted to quickly bring to everyone's attention, we talked about yesterday about the gas fees being at a low of the year. I want to quickly just show you guys this DeFi Pulse Index chart. This is the total value locked in DeFi. And as you can see, this is also at an all-time high. I mean, the movement that we saw in the last 5 days of the total amount of money locked in DeFi is actually pretty staggering. So, I think I talk about it all the time, but crypto provides this unique opportunity because there is this hierarchy of projects. And I think recognizing these trends in, the movement and the focus of speculation on Ethereum and DeFi can really give you a good idea of kind of how to time this market and where to park your capital for the best returns. So, this is an interesting chart. It's up above that moving average and continuing to make new highs. And the next stop for ETH is 3,000. So exciting stuff for ETH. CJ, do you have any thoughts on the ETH chart currently?
Nothing specifically. It's very similar to Bitcoin in terms of technicals, except for the fact that it's at new all-time highs. I think that the fact that we're pushing all-time highs makes it even more bullish. And one principle that I've often carried with throughout my trading is just when there's a decline in the market and there are certain assets that can remain resilient among that collective downtrend, they are typically the assets that rally the hardest once the market conditions go back to being overall bullish. And that's precisely what we saw in Ethereum last week. When we saw that correction down to 47K in Bitcoin, Ethereum remained rather resilient. And so that's why I think we're continuing to see a lot of bullish price action. And people want access to the DeFi market. They want to use MetaMask and 1inch and Uniswap and all of these great DeFi projects on Ethereum. And you need Ether to use them. So,
well, I want to, even though you guys are doing a great job covering ETH and so forth, and I am still on board with the idea that this one continues to outperform Bitcoin this year. If I did such things as put price targets on Ethereum, I'd say this one could be over 10,000 this year. But I just wanted to hit real quick, since my brother Pete played pro football. I played 4 games. Sean Coughlin, that's Culkin, by the way. He just got a deal from, I think, San Diego to go to the Chiefs. But anyway, he is now the first player in NFL history to convert his entire salary to Bitcoin. He wants to only be paid in Bitcoin. And the reason is, he said, why wouldn't you want to be paid in a currency that isn't going to be diluted, rather than the ones that are continually diluted, like, of course, the US dollar, like the euro dollar, and so forth. In other words, they buy less with each passing day versus Bitcoin, which at least Sean believes, and I think the 3 of us believe, is a better store of value. So I'm not saying I like to spend Bitcoin, guys. In fact, I have never spent Bitcoin. I've spent some of the other cryptocurrencies, but never that one, because I view it as a store of value, not as a currency. But nonetheless, when you're talking Satoshis and a sat and all that, a millionth of a Bitcoin or whatever, could you use them at some point? Maybe. But I do like Sean's move here to say, I really just believe in this particular digital asset, and I want to get paid in that. Other players have gotten portions of their salary paid. He is the first player to get his entire salary paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah, big news. And also, we talked a little bit on Monday about Trevor Lawrence as well. He signed a deal with Blockfolio, and he's going to receive his signing bonus entirely in crypto as well. So big news. Lots of players that, I think the athletes can also kind of have that similar effect of a domino effect. I think once you see a couple athletes do it and make a lot of money over the next 10 years, you can see a lot more athletes do the same. So
let me ask you guys one more question before we go to Doges of the day. Quick one to both of you. Okay, number one, will Facebook make that announcement, that rumor that you guys cited, that maybe they'll say we have crypto on the balance sheet?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say they do. Maybe not today, but this year, I think it's not an inevitability, but I do believe that that would be the smart move for Apple. They're a forward-thinking company. I think that, by the end of the year, it's likely. But CJ makes a great point. Today would make a lot of sense with the earnings coming up, but they don't seem like the type of company to me that would rush into it just because other companies are. So we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, I'm going to say that yes, that they will. And I think, there's a couple other surprises waiting out there. I mean, is Apple going to do it? Microsoft did not make that announcement, but they announced their earnings today, but there will be more. And a logical step would be Facebook, as you said, CJ, because they've already got Libra, and the government's already been talking to them about their Libra. When Zuck had to go, or his people had to go testify on Capitol Hill about it. It will be interesting. I think they will make an announcement that they've done some amount, maybe, a lot for us, but probably insignificant for them, amount in crypto. And the only crypto I think they would do other than their own is Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do it today. I don't know if we'll be that lucky per se, but I definitely think Facebook is going to pursue this and allocate some type of resource to holding Bitcoin. I mean, if you look at their shareholders, there are some Bitcoin maximalists on the board, like Peter Thiel, and many others. So it's a very interesting speculation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so without further ado, you guys want to hop into the Doge of the day? I actually had a quick piece of news I saw on Twitter. I guess you could call it news. Elon Musk will be appearing on Saturday Night Live on May 8th. And I saw today he's doing a sketch called The Doge Father. So be on the lookout for that, folks. And also don't be surprised if Doge pumps on May 7th, because Elon's going on Saturday Night Live on May 8th. Yeah. That's a trade insight right there.
It's better than that 420 pump, I think. All right. Because I got a dash, I'm going to give you guys a quick one. Waves is my Doge of the day. WAVES. So it's 5-letter symbol, not just a 3 or a 4, 5. WAVES. volume pumped like crazy. This one moved all the way up from a couple days ago when it was trading $90 million in a 24-hour period to now $1 billion in a 24-hour period. It ran all the way to 21 and I think a little bit over that. It pulled back to 19. I'm buying it there.
Very nice. Very nice. CJ, what have you got for us, my friend? You gonna dip, John?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump because I gotta get this other interview in. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Great to see everybody. Nice to be back.
See you tomorrow, John.
Thanks,
Thank
John.
CJ, what have you got for us, my friend?
Yeah, I have 2 picks. I got a technical pick and a volume pick as well. However, speaking of John's pick, waves, very interesting because we were looking at that pick yesterday on Digital Asset News YouTube channel, our episode of Trading Trinity. Alex Massioli actually selected waves for that trade to get into it yesterday. So a lot of volume, a lot of interesting activity going around that one. As for my picks, the first one that is going to be a volume pick is going to be Aave. That one's up over 102% in relative trading volume. If I look at Trade the Chain dashboard, so that one's been trending bullish. It's a darling of the DeFi space, I guess, if I had to say it right. My second pick, which is going to be much more for a technical reason, is going to be Band Protocol. This is bouncing from that TD by 9, and it looks like it wants to just propel itself into that upper range represented by that golden channel that you can see behind us. So those are going to be my 2 picks for Doge of the day.
Yeah, CJ, I really like this band pick. And if I could just quickly elaborate on some of the technicals. Yesterday on Trade the Chain, I was talking about, the importance of allowing an asset to break above this simple moving average. Because, today, if you look at the charts on a lot of the altcoins, you'll see that a lot of assets failed to break above this moving average. And the fact that you see Band doing it, for me, is a sign that it is ready to head into these channels that CJ has highlighted for us here. So Band, I like that play. My Doge of the day is Cardano. And, this is one that's had a lot of fundamental news around it. But I'm picking it today purely because of the technicals. Similarly to CJ's band pick, Cardano also was able to break above this moving average here. The thing is, today we've been seeing a little bit of bearish price action, and it's kind of heading back down to retest that level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to see if our candle today can close above this simple moving average, 20-period simple moving average. And if we can maintain today's daily candle close above this level, I'm going to go ahead and increase my position. So full disclosure, I do hold Cardano, and I do plan to increase my position if we get a daily close above this moving average at roughly 1.27. So lots of different, it's interesting today because there's lots of different technicals throughout the crypto space, lots of different assets kind of performing differently. So always interesting to note. But I think that's all we got for today. Any closing thoughts for our audience, CJ?
Don't forget that you can earn up to 10% interest on USDC from the sponsor of our show, that is Voyager. And you get 9% interest with USDC. And if you hold over 500 VGX tokens, that's Voyager tokens, you'll get a 1% boost on that interest to boost it up to 10%. Voyager also just raised the interest percentage on the Voyager token from 5% to 7% starting May 1st. So that'll be very exciting as well. But yeah, that's all I have. Also, we're going to be having our member webinar, and you can join our crypto trading room for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/try crypto. We're going to be talking about some of our previous trade insights. Also, I'm going to be revealing one of my latest trades of a secret bonus project that is very early on in its infancy, but I think it has a lot of potential moving forward. But with that cliffhanger, I will leave you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.